Okay, here's something that might make you think twice next time you shut the windows. The air inside our homes, it can actually be, well, maybe 2 to 5 times more polluted than the air outside.
Yeah, that's quite a statistic, isn't it? A bit of a shocker.
It really is. And, a big reason for this, often hiding right under our noses, is mold.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is mold spores are, well, they're everywhere naturally. It's part of the environment. The problem really starts when those levels get too high indoors. That's when things can go sideways.
Exactly. So in this deep dive, we're really getting into why mold testing is just so important for your health and, well, for your house itself. Think of this as like the quick guide you need on this. We're pulling the key stuff from the Hidden Dangers Why Mold Testing Matters podcast. Our aim here is really just to give you the essentials, cut through the noise so you understand why this is something you should probably be aware of.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, I mean, how much time do we actually spend indoors? Understanding the air quality there is pretty fundamental to just feeling well day to day.
It is a bit unsettling when you frame it like that. And mold, it's sneaky, isn't it? It's not always some big, obvious, fuzzy patch on the wall. It can be totally hidden.
That's such a critical point. Mold loves damp, dark places, behind wallpaper, under floorboards. Could be in the attic, the basement, even inside your air ducts, your HVAC system.
So just relying on sight or smell isn't really enough then. It's kind of like guessing, right?
Pretty much. And some of the really concerning types, like Stachybotrys, people call it black mold, sometimes they don't even have a strong smell.
Wow. So how would you even know?
Well, that leads to a really vital question for you listening. If you can't see it or smell it, how do you deal with a potential risk like that? And that's really where, being proactive, getting a test done becomes so important.
Right. And the health effects.
Yeah.
They're not trivial either. We're talking about things like ongoing headaches, maybe constant sneezing or coughing, sinus problems that just don't clear up, feeling tired all the time, even skin rashes that you can't explain. Sounds a lot like allergies, though, which I guess is why it's easy to dismiss.
Precisely. The symptoms are often quite general, making it hard to pin down mold as the cause. But, and this is really important, certain people are definitely at higher risk.
Okay, who are we talking about specifically? Who needs to be most careful?
Well, children, older adults, anyone with existing breathing issues like asthma or people with weakened immune systems, for them, mold exposure can cause much more severe reactions. It can really flare up their existing conditions.
So it's like an invisible trigger almost, making existing problems worse. Okay, so let's say someone suspects they might have a hidden mold issue. What actually happens during a professional mold test? What do they do?
Well, a good inspector usually starts with a really thorough visual check, looking for obvious signs, water stains, that kind of thing. But they go much deeper than just what you can see on the surface.
Okay, so it's not just a quick look around. They've got gear, I assume.
Exactly. They use tools like moisture meters. These can find hidden dampness inside walls or under floors where mold might be growing. Infrared cameras are also really useful. They can spot temperature differences that often point to hidden moisture. And a really key part is taking air samples.
Air samples. How does that work? What do they tell you?
So they collect samples of the air from different spots in your home. These then go off to a proper lab for analysis. The lab identifies the specific types of mold present and, crucially, measures the concentration, how many spores are actually in the air.
Ah, okay. So that gives you the hard data, tells you if it's actually a problem or just normal background levels.
Yes, exactly. The lab results give you a clear picture. Are the spore levels normal for an indoor space? Or are they elevated enough to suggest a problem that needs fixing, needs remediation?
And just circling back to the air quality thing for a second, it's worrying that even without seeing mold, your air could still be full of these tiny spores.
It is a major concern. These spores are microscopic, they get airborne easily, and they can circulate all through your house, especially through the heating and cooling system, the HVAC. Without actually testing the air, you could be breathing in high levels every single day and, well, just not know it.
And this isn't just about health impacts, is it? There are financial costs, too, if mold gets ignored.
Oh, absolutely. Long-term mold growth can cause serious structural damage. It can literally eat away at drywall, rot wood, ruin insulation. Eventually, that means really expensive repairs. The source material we looked at even mentioned cases where whole sections of walls had to be replaced. We're talking thousands, potentially tens of thousands of dollars.
Ouch. And I imagine it hits your home's resale value, too.
Mm-hmm.
Finding mold during an inspection must be a deal breaker for many buyers.
Definitely. It can scare buyers off completely, or at least lead to a much lower offer. So Purely from a financial perspective, think of mold testing as like preventative maintenance. It could save you a lot of money and hassle down the line.
Okay, so who really needs to think about getting a mold test? It's obviously not just people who see mold, right?
That's absolutely right. Testing makes a lot of sense in several situations. First off, if you've had any water issues, leaks, serious humidity problems, maybe flooding, those create the perfect conditions for mold.
That makes total sense. Any other times?
Yeah, if you or someone in your home has those unexplained health symptoms we talked about, the headaches, the fatigue, the respiratory stuff, testing could help see if mold is playing a part. Also, very important when you're buying or selling a house. It's really key due diligence. Avoids nasty surprises later on.
Good point for buyers and sellers.
Right.
What about renters or landlords? Especially in, say, apartment buildings.
Yeah, for landlords, especially with multiple units, being proactive about mold is huge. It's about tenant health, obviously, but it's also about legal responsibility. Testing and fixing issues promptly is, well, it's crucial.
And the cost of testing itself, is that usually a big hurdle?
Generally, no. Basic mold testing is actually pretty affordable, especially when you weigh it against, the potential cost of major repairs or long-term health issues. It's often a worthwhile investment.
So it really sounds like being proactive is the way to go. Better to check things out early rather than wait for a visible problem or for people to start feeling unwell.
Exactly. Taking that proactive step means you can catch potential mold problems early, before they become big, expensive headaches for your health in your home.
Right. So let's just quickly recap the main takeaways from this deep dive. Basically, mold is often hidden. It can seriously affect your health and damage your property. And testing is a really smart, pretty affordable way to prevent bigger issues.
It gives you the knowledge you need. It empowers you to take the right steps to make sure your indoor environment is safe and healthy.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought for you, the listener. Considering just how much time you likely spend inside, how sure are you about the air quality right where you live or work? And, what's maybe one small step you could take that might give you a bit more peace of mind?